Hey there. So this week's video might be a little bit different than my usual videos. I'm going to be talking about a grief topic that has just really been on my heart lately. When you are someone that works in grief, you're pretty much surrounded by all of the negative, and it's hard not to take in other people's struggles sometimes. But that is the price of what we do, and it's 100% worth it. I've been receiving so many comments on my videos and in private messages lately, and I feel like I'm getting more. And I just wanted to create a video to kind of respond to some of you who are sending me these comments. I've been hearing a lot more people lately say that there is just no reason to keep going, that people just don't care about themselves anymore, that they are feeling hopeless and like there's no reason to go on. So I want to take a minute to kind of respond to that and offer, if I can, just a little bit of advice to help you because it hurts my heart to feel like people are feeling this way. And it also hurts my heart because I know how you feel, because I have been there. I was you. I was in that place. And I just want to share kind of what has helped me in the hopes that maybe it will give you a little bit of hope. The first place I want to start is that so many times when you are in such a low, dark place, you feel like you don't matter. You feel like no one cares about you. No one is going to care if you're gone. And honestly, that cannot be further from the truth. I know it is hard to see sometimes, especially when you are in that deep fog of grief and you're just surrounded by all of that negative energy. You feel like your life doesn't matter. Like, I'm not contributing anything to this world except for sadness. So what is the point, right? Why go on? Why bother people with my doom and gloom or my tears? But that is not how it is. If you can step back, even though it feels that way when you're in it, if you could just step back and look at it from a different perspective, you'd be amazed how many people you can find that do care about you. I know for myself, my sons, after my daughter died, and my mom and my dad and my stepmom, after everybody died in that short period of time, my sons were my reason to keep going. And I knew that if I did anything to myself, that it would just bring extra pain to them. And I didn't want to do that. So for a while, my sons were my reason to go on because I didn't want to hurt them. If I step back further, I can see that there are coworkers and friends and family members and so many other people that don't pop into your mind when you're in that dark space, that care about how you're doing. So if you feel like you're in a place where you are lost and that no one cares if you're here or if you get better, I just encourage you to kind of take a step back and see if you can find just one or two people that will care. And if you can't find anyone, know that I care. I care about you. I care if you go on. And other people that work in the grief space, people in our community, if you're feeling like you don't care, just leave a comment below and you will have people responding to you, strangers that care about you and your well being. So that's the first thing. Just know that people care. So if you can't go on for yourself, go on for people who care about you. The second strategy that I would love for you to try that helped me immensely is when you are deep in grief and you are deep in that darkness, it is really difficult to care about yourself. Caring about yourself, especially if you are a mom, a wife, someone who takes care of a family like I was, it's so second nature for us to put ourselves on the back burner and care about everyone else. And then when you lose people that you love, it's like, oh, what is the point of caring about myself now? Like, you don't know how to do it. It's awkward, right? I know it was for me. I was terrible at the self care thing. So, what I encourage you to do there is just take teeny tiny baby steps, things that seem completely insignificant that are showing yourself that you care about you. It sounds a little bit confusing, but the more you do little tiny things to care about yourself, the more you will actually care if you keep going, because you will start to have those little glimmers of joy, those little moments of peace that make it worth it. So, I am talking super simple things here. Do not overwhelm yourself. I do simple things every day that seem ridiculously insignificant, but they have become significant over time. So, for example, when I wake up in the morning, I make my bed. It sounds so dumb, but I watched a video from an admiral. If you know what it is, you can link it. I'll try to find it. And he talks about making your bed every morning and how it makes you feel better. And so I tried it, and it really does. It makes me feel like I've accomplished something to start my day, and it makes my room look nicer. And when I crawl into bed in the evening, I love the feeling of peeling back the, clean, nicely made sheets and climbing into a nicely made bed. I don't know why it works. It just works. Just trust me. Just try it. If you don't, tell me what you think. Another thing I do is after I take a shower and I get dressed for the day, I make myself my protein coffee. Um, I have a recipe for it somewhere, but basically, I just make myself pretty much the same drink every day. And it is a routine for me, and it's a comforting routine. And I look forward to that every single day. I don't spend money on it. It is free. The ingredients are cheap, and it's something healthy for me to drink in the morning that kind of gets my day started on the right foot. Something else simple that I do is I try to take a walk around my neighborhood every day. Not a long walk, doesn't have to be anything crazy. Sometimes I just walk out to get my Amazon packages that are at the front of my community because it's a little gated community. So I have to go out to the front. So sometimes that is my walk, is walking to get a package from Amazon and walking back. But it's in nature. And sometimes there's sunshine, sometimes there's wind, but I just kind of take a moment to look around and look at the sky and look at the trees and listen to the wind and the birds. And it sounds so dumb, but it is calming, and it makes me feel like I'm part of the world, and it is peaceful and relaxing. And I've come to the point where I enjoy doing that every day, no matter how short or long that walk is. Another thing I do is I have a chunky blanket. I'm going to grab it. It changes with the seasons. You might have seen my orange one, but now I've got a white one, and it's fuzzy and it's comforting. And I curl up with this thing on my sofa pretty much every single night. And I either watch some random YouTube videos on my phone, or I watch something short on TV before I go to bed. And whether it is 15 minutes or, 2 hours, if I need to relax, it just is something that I really enjoy. I put my fireplace on beside me. I have my cozy blanket, and I just curl up and have that little time of comfort that is just for me. And I've started to really look forward to these things every day. And they are moments that make life worth it. And it took me a long time to get here. So if you are not in this space yet, like I said, start tiny and small. Tiny and small. Just set tiny little goals for yourselves. And I promise you, the more you do it, the more you get used to caring for yourself, the more you will care about whether or not you keep going. The next thing that I would love to suggest for you is, in a world that is full of so much negativity, I urge you to cling to every little bit of hope that you can find. Whether that is someone that you know that is further ahead in the grief process, that is assuring you that the searing, stabbing, shitty pain that you are feeling will eventually start to dull a little bit so that you can function again. whether it is someone like me who is on YouTube that you can watch, and hopefully I inspire you that you can keep going and you can create a life that doesn't suck. If it is a counselor or a therapist or someone that you speak to that can offer you that hope that things will get better, I just want you to try to find that wherever you can. Try to find those little hints of possibility that your life will get better and cling to those as tightly as you possibly can, because it can get better. And I know it's so hard to find that hope. So many of you have shared with me that you just feel so hopeless that your life is ever going to be worth living. And it can be, and it will be, but it is work to get there. It's a struggle to get there, and it takes time, and it's not natural, right? So cling to those little bits of hope and try to hold them in your heart as you go on this journey for those times when you are really feeling hopeless. And my last tip for you is learn to be true to yourself. And this is a big one. This is obviously not going to happen overnight. This has taken me pretty much my entire life to realize. And it took the death of all the people that I loved and, my daughter, and using her example of living a life that you love, that I wanted to live a life that she would be proud of me for living. And I do that by being true to who I am. In my life, I have tried so hard to please other people and didn't really care all that much about myself. And I'm not saying that part of me is bad. I am still, hopefully, a kind, caring person. I still love doing things for other people. That brings me so much joy. But I try not to do that at the expense of my own self care. I have stopped trying to live up to other people's expectations for myself. And what that means for me is that I know I'm an introverted person. I am a history nerd. I read and watch the most ridiculously boring things television. So I don't try to keep up with the trends of what people are watching. And people at work talk about shows, and I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to watch that because I'm right now watching a early 2000s lecture series on the Tudor and Stuart British history. Yeah. I also watch prairie and frontier shows. I am a nerd, and I have finally learned to embrace that. My happiest place is sitting on my sofa with my chunky blanket, with my fireplace on, reading a historical fiction book. I love baking and cooking. That makes me happy. So that is what I do in my spare time. I don't try to be what other people think is cool. I am a simple person, and I like being minimal and simple in my life. And I feel like that's helped me so much to declutter and just clear away all of that expectation of what society thinks is a successful life. And now I just focus on helping other people and doing it in a way that is sustainable and healthy and that I enjoy. And I know I talked about myself there a lot, but I want you to do the same thing for you. I want you to try to figure out what your values are, what is important to you. And it can be really challenging because for me, I would have said my family. My family was the most important thing in the world to me. But my family imploded pretty much. My family that I grew up with, because my parents are both gone. My brothers and I aren't super duper close. My sister died. Like, my family's pretty non existent at this point. And my family with my boys, I'm divorced. I am the mom of two grown boys that are doing their own things. Libby is no longer here. So I'm an empty nester, like a single empty nester. And family is still incredibly important to me, but it is not the center of my life because it can't be anymore. It's just not the same. So you might have to adjust. You might think of something that you've always wanted to be or something that you've always wanted to do. And I encourage you to embrace that, even if it seems ridiculous. If it gives you a little bit of hope and encouragement and excitement for what your life might become, cling to that shit. Cling to it and live for it and get out of bed and go minute by minute, even if everything else in your world hurts. So, okay. Like I said, I'm sorry if none of that made sense or if parts of it didn't make sense. I'm just rambling. I don't have a script today. I'm just kind of free flowing it. But like I said, if you're someone who has sent me messages recently or ever, or even if you haven't and you're just feeling like, what am I doing here? No one cares. Why am I even bothering? I care. And there are people who care about you. And we can do this. We can. If I can do it, you can do it. I believe in you. I am sending you love and hugs, as always. If you would like to chat with me one-on-one, I don't advertise it a ton because I still do work full-time, but I do have one-on-one sessions where we can talk about your grief. So the link is in the description below. No pressure ever. But all right. Sending love and hugs. I will see you guys next week. Bye. We all know that grief can leave us feeling alone, unmotivated, and even hopeless. That's why I'm so proud to have partnered with HelpText to provide a full year of ongoing expert support to my subscribers. HelpText has individualized support for caregivers, people dealing with a difficult diagnosis, or grieving the loss of a loved one, pregnancy, or even a pet. You answer questions at sign up to get specific support just for you, including 2 texts per week and even extra texts on special or difficult days like birthdays or anniversaries. And the best part is, if you sign up using the site linked in my description, you'll get a 10% discount off of your subscription. Thank you so much to HelpText for offering this deal to my subscribers. When life gets hard, getting support from HelpText is easy.